Indiana is becoming the latest battleground state in the fight over abortion rights. The state Senate just opened a special legislative session with abortion at the top of the agenda. Meanwhile, Vice President Harris is on the ground in Indiana today. She's holding a reproductive rights roundtable with local lawmakers and leaders. NBC News correspondent Shaq Brewster joins me now. Shaq, walk us through this proposed legislation in Indiana. If it passes, what does it mean for women and the doctors there? And also, what is the vice president going to be talking about in the roundtable today?
Well, let's start with this legislation because Indiana is the first state to set up a special session after the overturning of Roe v. Wade. And based on the legislation that has officially now been introduced and will be debated in the coming days, this will represent a near total ban of abortion in the state of Indiana. Now, there are some exceptions. There's exceptions for the rape, incest, the life of the mother, some fetal abnormalities. But this, no doubt about it, would represent a dramatic reduction in the rights that women have in terms of their access to abortion in the state. And that is why you're seeing the protests both inside and outside the state capitol today. And also, that's why you're seeing that visit from Vice President Kamala Harris, who said she was coming because of the start of this special session. She wanted to cheer on, so to speak, the lawmakers that are standing in opposition to this legislation. And listen to a little bit of the message she gave to those lawmakers in that room as she was talking to state lawmakers in Indiana.
The idea that in some states, after a child or a woman or a man, but in particular in this case of abortion, a woman or a child would have endured such an act of violence, and then to suggest that she would not have the autonomy and authority to make a decision about what happens to her body is outrageous.
Now, we are still about 2 weeks away, according to political observers, from seeing that law actually be passed in the state of Indiana. And I should also note that it's not just that law that the legislature is looking into. There's also a companion piece of legislation that would provide some support, about $45 million for maternal care. That would boost the adoption tax credit. But without a doubt, it's that law that would be a dramatic restriction of abortion. It would make Indiana about 1 in 8 states to have a near total ban of abortion. It's that law that is by far the most controversial.
Well, Shaq, this is a case that's become a flashpoint in the abortion debate, right? This man who was accused of raping a 10-year-old girl in Ohio, she had to travel to Indiana for an abortion. That man's being arraigned in court today. Talk to us about how the international spotlight on that case is playing into the abortion debate in both Ohio and Indiana.
Yeah, when you look at the timing, it's very, very weird. I mean, in about 30 minutes or so, we'll expect to see that suspect in court. He will be arraigned. He's facing those 2 felony counts of rape of a 10-year-old. We know that carries about a minimum sentence of 10 years in prison. We know it carries a maximum sentence of a life in prison. So according to his attorney via conversations with local media, he will enter a not guilty plea today. He will not appear in court, according to what we're seeing from that local media there. But this is something that has gotten wrapped into the debate that you're seeing in a completely separate state in Indiana. And that's because this 10-year-old had to travel from Ohio to Indiana to get access to abortion. When her case was mentioned by President Joe Biden in a speech, he was expressing sympathy for her plight. It was a story that received skepticism and doubt from conservative lawmakers and even conservative media. It's clear now that this story is real, and now we're seeing the arraignment of the suspect accused of raping that 10-year-old.
Shaq Brewster, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.